Gotten word that there's a stash of abundant life that tons of people are missing out on, and the enemy's enjoying watching them struggle.
We figured out a way in, but it's gotta happen fast. It requires an elite group that's willing to do things they've never done before. That's why you're here.
We made an impact. There were nearly 450 groups formed for the 28-day challenge. On average, there were over 1,361 challenge group participants each week. That's nearly 5,500 group participants total during the challenge. Most of all, nearly 500 people made a decision for Christ from the challenge groups.
And from our services, there were nearly 70 Glorified God youth who made spiritual decisions for Christ. Over 330 Kids World children made decisions for Christ, and nearly 200 persons from our sanctuary made spiritual decisions for Christ. That's a grand total of nearly 1,100 people who made spiritual decisions for Christ during the 28-day challenge.
Now that was a successful challenge. Praise God. And that's not all. There were 5,170 apps that were downloaded of the 28-day challenge. In addition, there were nearly 31,000 views on YouTube of the 28-day challenge videos. You also made an impact on the community initiative by donating hats, gloves, scarves, boys and girl coats, and other items. A total of nearly 3,000 items were donated and counting. Now here are more highlights of the exciting, awesome, fantastic 28-day challenge.
If you're willing to test drive God like never before, He's going to do more in your life than you've never experienced before.
When your check engine light comes on, don't panic. Check in with the great engineer, assembler, and mechanic.
And that's one reason why we're saying, hey, test drive God's way. Some of us, that's going to be meaning you're test driving coming to church every week. Some of us, you're test driving going to a group or hosting a group. Some of us are test driving putting down the weed for these 28 days. I mean, come on, some of us test driving doing some things differently in our marriage or in our prayer life. Whatever area you're test driving in, go ahead and completely commit to that thing and then watch God reveal to you that His way is the best way.
God has opened up a door of opportunity for me. I was believing God for a job. I've been unemployed for a few years and I'm ready to go back to work. I met an individual at the church that has a company that I think is a good fit for me. It's a non-emergent transportation company. The first Sunday of the challenge, he asked me to fax my resume. I did so. I quickly had an interview right after. And then yesterday, he asked me to bring my vehicle in and for an inspection so that I can come forth. In a couple of weeks, I'll be working with that company.
I thank God for giving Pastor Butler the vision to have the 28-day test drive challenge here at Word of Faith. My family never gets together, but I approached my uncle and I asked him, would you please host the challenge? He said yes, not a problem. And for 4 weeks, my family got together, and each week, my family members got saved. Each week, we had 1 or 2 more members that came that weren't there the week before. And I tell you, God moved in a miraculous way. I have members that I never thought would get saved in my lifetime. But there's nothing too hard for God. And I want to encourage you, if you have family members that you're not really sure about, just give it over to God, and God will do the rest.
About a week after the challenge started, my dad called me over to help him take care of some business. So I get over to his house. He comes out the side door, and he looks at my car, and he's teasing me about. He said, "You got it looking good. You got some new hubcaps on here. You got it looking good." And he said, "Boy, when you gonna buy you a new car?" I said, "As soon as you give me $10,000, I'll go get one." He said, "Okay." And it just moved me to see him do something like that, and it's totally out of character for him. And after having dinner with him that day, I was on my way home, and I was kind of like reflecting back and said, "Lord, what just happened? What did you just do?" It was more of like a boom, and I didn't even realize it was a boom.
So you don't have to look at failure as though it's the end. Don't put a period where God has put a comma. Get back up again and keep walking and living this life like God told you to live it, and eventually you'll get to that place where you will make it stick. God's not telling you that he doesn't want you blessed. He doesn't want you prospering. What he's telling you is this is the way to be blessed. This is the way to prosper. This is the way to have purpose. This is the way to an amazing future where God is using you and God is blessing you and heaven is waiting for you.
That's what's up.